Hello, it's you. You're back. Hey, in this video, we are going to look at marking up our whiteboard in Canva. Okay, we're going to look at the drawing tools. We'll look at commenting and sharing with our customers and clients, how to use stickies, draw these cool little lines, and love heart emojis. A lot of these are unique for the whiteboarding feature in Canva. So let me show you how they work. All right, let's start with a good old fashioned shortcut that we already know. Anybody remember what the zoom to fit is? That's right, it's Command Option 0 on a Mac, Control Alt 0 on a PC. And the good thing about using that shortcut when you're in whiteboard mode is that it zooms out to everything you've made. So it's extra especially helpful there. The next thing is that the whiteboard mode has some special features. You might have bumped into them already. If you draw a rectangle, okay, or a square, so we did elements square. Okay, if we add a square, okay, I'm going to put it over here. You'll notice that you get these arrows by default, only when you're in whiteboard mode. And the cool thing about them is, I'm going to delete that one, is this guy here, I want to click, hold, and drag. Can you see the line that comes out of him? Okay, I can snap it to there, just to add a little bit of like flow in terms of, that's where that came from. And I might do it the other way around. I might say, what I might do is turn it off that way and turn the arrowhead on that way, so it's kind of pointing up. If you are using the whiteboard for more like, I'm gonna duplicate this, I got two of them. If you are using it for more like a flowchart, maybe it's a sitemap for a website or some sort of flow process, UX design process, something, you can drag these lines out, and can you see, it'll actually give you it'll just duplicate the box that you made. I didn't do anything, not holding anything down. That could be handy. Other handy things, I'm going to go back to my shortcut, Command Option 0, Control Alt 0 on a PC, okay, is stickies. So there is, if you go to elements, you'll notice this thing here. Look at that. He wasn't there before. Okay, so stickies are really useful for doing mood boards. I just use the S key, okay, and that will just do a little sticky note. Okay, and we can stick it above stuff and we can type things. Okay, this might be notes to ourselves or to the client. Okay, has my name as the author, and I can pick a different post-it note color, but post-it should be yellow. I'm going to leave that as yellow. Same thing as the squares. These post-it notes here have lines. Okay, so you might here, I can draw that, and I can just get it to attach there. Now, if you were the reviewer and somebody sent you something, if I click on this, I can do emojis. Love this idea. Let's look what happens when we do share it with somebody. Okay, let's say that I'm going to send this off to my client as my mood board. Okay, and I'm going to say share. We've got different levels of access. I could send them a JPEG, okay, but actually I want them to be able to comment on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say everyone with the link has access, or you could email them. Okay, you can type in their email here, so specifically they will get it. Up to you. Okay, I want anyone with the link can comment. Okay, I'm going to copy that link and email it to them. Let me show you what it looks like on their side. Okay, I've opened this up. This is what your client would get if they don't have a Canva account, and it'll depend. Like some clients, I know if I send this to them, they'll be fine. Some of them, they'll have a meltdown. So I'll send them a PDF and an email. You'll know from your client which they might prefer. Okay, the cool thing about this though is that the client here can have a look, can review it, send you an email back. If they want to comment, they'll have to sign up. They can sign up for a free account. But the cool thing about it, it's kind of interactive. Okay, they can see it all, they can move around. Okay, they can see your notes here, and they didn't have to log in or sign up or anything. But if they do want to comment, they do need to. Let's look at it if they do comment. So I can do commenting. Let's have a look. So I've got some notes that I want to add to my client. We've got a good Canva working relationship. They know how to use it. So what I can do is, instead of using post-it notes, I can say I want to comment on this thing. Okay, you need to have something selected. The comment needs to attach itself to something. Okay, so have something selected, click on this. Okay, you can add your note, tag your client, add emojis. And the cool thing about it is that when the person opens it on the other side, let's have a look. You can see here, they can see the comments. Again, if they want to reply, they need to sign in, but you can add a lot of kind of like documentation just so you're using the comments or post-it notes, depends on what you want to do. The one thing I always forget when I'm doing comments, I'll be like, what did you think? And they're like, about what? Whenever I do it, I hit comments and I type something in, and then I click off and I'm like, done. And it looks like there's a comment there. It's halfway through editing. You've got to hit enter or hit submit comment. Otherwise it doesn't actually apply. It just sits there in drafts. I do that all the time. The other thing is, if the client has gone through and left their comments, what you can do on your side is you can click on this button here. Instead of trying to find them all and click on them all, you can just hit this option and it will show you for the current page all the comments that are on it. The other things that are useful for kind of this ideation phase, and especially in this whiteboard mode, is you get given this draw option, okay, and you've got some basic drawing tools. These two here are exactly the same. One's thin, one's thick. Okay, I'm going to go to this first one here. I'm going to draw something. Actually, I've already messed around with mine. By default, it's a lot thinner. It's down here somewhere. Okay, and you just draw like you'd imagine you'd use it for. We've used fancy arrows. We can just do a big old arrow here. I wouldn't attempt to write in this. You can. It's just tricky with the mouse, obviously. You can just use your text element or comments. It is much easier to draw if you're using maybe an iPad or your mobile like we did earlier in the course. You can just use your finger to draw. Now this first one here is the pen, this is the marker. These are the same, except the marker by default is thicker than the pen. But if you go down here and say the weight is heavier for the pen, it ends up being exactly the same as the marker. There's no difference between these two tools. Not that I can find anyway. Highlighters basically the same as these, except that they've got the transparency turned down. So they're just kind of like some pre-made stuff with different colors. Essentially all doing the same thing. So the highlighter here, then I'm gonna grab my pen, pick a better brush size, okay, and we might be doing stuff like this. There you go. The highlighter, the pen tool, and the marker. Basically the same tool, good for just marking it up and scribbling over things. I do like keeping the professionalism out of the mood board here so that it can do its job. And it's just a quick ideation, quick ideas, quick concepts over to the client just to make sure we're going in the same direction and I don't get too far down the design process and we have completely different ideas. That is the scary part when you do get started designing in Canva, is like, how long should it take? That is one of the trickiest parts when you are getting started designing in Canva, is hiding your designs, waiting too long, and then the client may be expecting, because you've had it for 2 weeks, it to be more than what you actually have delivered. Keep it simple. Scribbles, notes, comments, get it over to them early. I do love this mood board function in Canva. The one thing it doesn't have is if you go to templates, remember that styles panel? It's gone. Okay, you can't go through and pick color styles for this whole thing. That's the interesting thing about Canva, is that, you know, some parts have features and like that line thing just popping off the side here is pretty cool. But it's not in an Instagram post when you start that. You can get to it, we can make the lines happen. And like this, we can go through and change the colors, but we don't have that fancy styles thing in here. Okay, so there are missing some things, but you do get some extras, like stickies. All right, my friend, that's the markup tools, the stickies, the comments, and sharing your mood board with your client. That is it. I will see you in the next video.